DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, it is a Friday edition of Talking Ball, 7 o'clock. We are ready, we are off, we are running. And welcome on into the show, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Feel free to join us on a Friday morning. And the UAH Chargers move a step closer last night to claiming the regular season Gulf South Conference Championship as they started off slow, and I mean they started off slow last night against West Florida, trailing by 14 at one point early, but boy, when the offense got going and the defense settled in, that's all she wrote. Chargers grab a 84-65 win last night over the Argonauts, their 8th straight win. All they need to do now is beat Valdosta State on Saturday, and they will have a Gulf South Conference regular season championship. That is all they need, is a win Saturday. So get on out to Spraggins Hall Saturday, 4 o'clock. You might as well get out there, watch the women's play at 2 as well, because it should be a fantastic ball game. But the men's game at 4 will, the Chargers could cut down some nets for a regular season championship. By the way, C.J. Williamson did not play last night, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to some of the game, and the Chargers were at that point when I tuned in, were in the midst of digging out of the 17-3 hole that they were down, and by the time I actually went to eat dinner, it was halftime, and they had already had the 24-point swing. They didn't lead by 12 at half, but they had led by as many as 12 in the second half and had a comfortable lead. I believe they were up 10 at halftime. And I didn't hear C.J. Williams' name in the first half, so
still in the boot. So
I sort of figured when I didn't hear him, and Dane Harding was out there making threes and making plays, that perhaps Coach John Jolman had decided to hold him out at a long time.
Snookered us a little bit.
I don't know. Well, playing mind games, it works sometimes.
I don't know. Anyway, though, congratulations to the Chargers.
Yeah.
They get a win last night. Now, coming up tomorrow, it is another busy Saturday of college basketball. And the Auburn Tigers getting ready to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. But listen here to Bruce Pearl talk yesterday about the conference.
On the one hand, it demonstrates that this team's been competitive. The league is just I don't know whether it's the best it's been since I've been in the league, but it's pretty close, I think. I mean, I think some of the national rankings would say with where we are, and with Alabama and Tennessee being so highly ranked all year, and then Texas A&M playing so well in conference play, and then some of the middle of the league teams like Vanderbilt or Mississippi State or Missouri, Florida being better than what they thought people were going to be, and then Arkansas could wind up doing what they've done every year, and that's like being an Elite Eight team with their talent.
So I bring that up because we talk about how good the Big 12 has been all year in college basketball. But I'm going to ask you the question, have we undersold how good the SEC is this year?
No, I don't think so. I think they're really good. I just don't think they're the Big 12, and maybe not the Big East. I know I was listening to Joe Lenardi. I think his latest bracketology, I think, is due out today. But he was talking to Fake Tears Farnham and a couple of those other clowns last night at halftime. And, hey, it was amazing. Sean Farnham was on the broadcast last night, Scott, and he wasn't crying. I mean, it was stunning. He wasn't boo-hoo-hooing and talking about Nate Oates in basically a dismissive, disparaging tone, and wasn't, basically talking about what the other team didn't do. It was pretty stunning. It wasn't crying, snapping those fingers and giving you the young and the restless kind of stuff. But again, because he's a clown. But anyway,
the Big 12 has 6 ranked teams right now. The Big East has 5. The SEC has 3 as far as ranked teams go.
Yeah, but what I was going to say with Joe Lunardi is I think he still had Mississippi State on the last 4 in line, and this was before Southern Cal won their game and won at Colorado and things of that nature, because I think he had Southern Cal until they won that game, the last team in, then he moved him up. But he had 8 SEC teams, so he still does. So obviously they think a lot of the league. Now, I still think that the ceiling is probably going to be 6 or 7, because I think there's going to be some cannibalization of each other here with some of this stuff. And Mississippi State, it's going to be interesting. They're in kind of a must-win mode. That's why it's so they're a game with Texas A&M on Saturday, and the hump is so important. They need to win that game. And we were even talking about Vandy being a sleeper until they
laid
until they lost to LSU, and now they can worry about the NIT and maybe if they're a 3 or 4 seed in that deal. But unless they tank the rest of the season, then they won't make postseason at all, and then Stackhouse will go. It's just like Blake Lovell said, from everybody wanting him fired, everybody saying why aren't we in the tournament, to everybody wanting him fired again. So we'll see how Vandy responds. They certainly responded after Alabama smoked them. But I'll just say LSU is not Alabama, and that was a bad loss for Vanderbilt. But I still think they can get 6 teams in. I think they'll get at least 6. I will say that. I think they're going to get 6 in, because I think Arkansas, with Nick Smith now playing, and regardless of what happens against Alabama. Now, of course, if they beat Alabama on the road, it's going to up their profile. But if Alabama takes care of them like I hope they do, then to stay ahead of A&M, then I still think Arkansas is in, because I think Arkansas, they'll have a game at home against Kentucky that they can win. Kentucky is now solidly in. We know that, because remember, just 2 weeks ago they were on the outside.
Well, we were talking about if Kentucky faltered down the stretch, if Kentucky played the way they'd been playing, which was not very good,
inconsistent,
they could have potentially played. It was not a long shot. They could have potentially played in the first 4 of the SEC tournament. Now, those days and that conversation.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the first day,
Yeah, the first day. That conversation is long gone. Kentucky's that's not happening. But if they were continuing the trend that they were on, there was a chance. And it's not going to happen now. Kentucky's now in the upper half of the league and positioning themselves to be there. And when we get to Nashville, you have to look at Alabama. I don't think you can look at Tennessee and say, hey, Tennessee's a threat to win the SEC tournament the way that they are playing. They have seemed like they are trending backwards. But Alabama, you would have to put Kentucky in that equation. You would have to put, regardless of the Alabama-Texas A&M game here in the regular season, you would have to put Buzz Williams' team in that conversation to win the tournament once you get to Nashville.
Well, they reached the finals last year and nearly won it, know. And,
so you have to put them in there.
And basically, when you saw the field come out, I think they were the first team out. So they nearly, and then they ended up being like one of the 1 seeds in the NIT. But I'm looking at Mississippi State, for example, here, because when I'm looking at the SEC standings, they're only 6 and 9 in the league right now, Scott. And yet Joe Lunardi has them in, which I find very interesting, because they do have some good out of conference wins that they got early in the season. So, and the interesting part though is because they beat a Utah, they beat a Marquette. And Utah is definitely not a shoe-in to get in, but Marquette is a shoe-in to get in. But what's interesting with Mississippi State though is it's going to come down to their last 3 games. They've got, you just mentioned Texas A&M. And we just talked about it. They've got Texas A&M at home, and then they've got South Carolina at home, and then they go on the road to Nashville at Vanderbilt. To me, if they win out in the regular season, they get to 9-9, which would put them at 21-10 overall. Then I think they're going to get in, even if they lose their first game in the SEC tournament, to go to 9-10 overall. I think the SEC is good enough to where they will be considered in. But when you look at the standings overall, and I'm looking at them right here, I agree with you. Alabama and Texas A&M, Kentucky now solidly in, Tennessee in. I think after that, because a lot of people for the last couple of weeks have been saying Alabama and A&M were the only shoe-ins as A&M kept stacking wins. But I think Kentucky and Tennessee are solidly in.
Yeah, yes.
Then what it turns into, that's 4. But it's Auburn, Missouri, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. Because I don't think Florida or Vanderbilt, even though they're near 5, Vanderbilt's still 1 game over 500 in the league and 15-13. Florida 14-14, 7-8. But we know UF's been struggling since Castleton went out.
Yeah,
they don't have a chance.
Too many bad losses.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So to me, that's what it comes down to. You've got 4 in, and then you've got 4 that are on the bubble that are fighting. But Mississippi State, to me, doesn't have any room for error. If they lose any of those last 3, then I think you got to do some damage in Nashville. I'm talking about multiple wins to get in the tournament.
If Auburn goes on the road tomorrow, gets a win against Kentucky on the road, does that just rubber stamp them into the NCAA tournament?
It rubber stamps them to me, absolutely. Yep. I think that's kind of what Bruce Pearl was talking about at his press conference yesterday because of the strength of the conference.
Yeah. But
because Auburn, you could argue that Auburn's got the toughest remaining schedule in the league. Because
everybody above them.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama's is not easy. I mean, you've got Arkansas that's got Nick Smith back. You've got Auburn, your biggest rival, even though 2 of those are at home. And then you've got Texas A&M, who's right behind you and breathing down your neck.
Right.
But Auburn has got Kentucky on the road.
Yep.
Alabama on the road. And then Tennessee at home, who has already beaten them. So, and Auburn is not out of the woods yet either. I've said it repeatedly. I think they're going to get in, but to me, Auburn needs 1 more win. I think they need to, at the very least, protect the home court and beat Tennessee and split that series. But if they were to get 1 of the 2 against Kentucky or Alabama on the road, then I think Auburn has 0 to worry about when they go to Nashville. But they need to get that 10th conference win. And because we talked about it, Auburn doesn't have a lot of good wins, but they don't have disastrous losses. But they avoided one to Ole Miss the other day. But they've got to I think stack 1 more win, and at least they do have a home game remaining at Neville Arena against Tennessee.
All right, let's get our first break in. When we come back, we'll set the stage for what is tomorrow in the SEC, plus throw in some college football conversation in there as well. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Are you looking for a quality job? Well, the University of Alabama in Huntsville is having a career fair for custodians, technicians, and maintenance and landscaping professionals to join their UAH facilities team. You can enjoy a good work-life balance on a beautiful campus, excellent benefits, training opportunities, and a respectful team atmosphere. Visit our career fair on Wednesday, March 1st from 3 to 6 p.m. in Morton Hall at 1310 Ben Graves Drive on the UAH campus, or apply at uah.edu today.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
Got to do what we got to do, helping the people that did lose their jobs and lost their income, and now they don't have money for their food.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community with what we're dealing with. It's what you sign up for as a soldier.
We will not rest until the mission is complete.
Each one of these soldiers, once they received the call, they understood that all hands were on deck. This goes to the core of what citizen soldiers do.
We are your Army National Guard.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
97.7 The Zone.
Now on Saturday, you are willing to give a little extra. Then you, because of your preparation and the things I'm trying to get across to you, and if we do that as a team, 11 at the time, 4 years from now, we'll be walking out of here national champion. And I'll tell you this, I expect nothing less.
97.7 The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks to watch out for. One in the 1800 block of University, that's west of Church. That one had a minor injury involved. And they've been working one on 20 eastbound around Bibb Garrett coming out of Decatur. Right lane's been blocked up there. That's a big backup area. Apparently that one did have an injury involved. Snelling has a contract accounting position. It's a 2 or 3 month assignment. Needs a degree and experience. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
What's your rhythm? Is it a curated wine and craft beer list, enjoying Nacho Tuesday with friends, or maybe it's sipping a mimosa during brunch on the weekend? Find your rhythm and feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe in the VBC. Enjoy a delicious dinner created by Chef Becky Vibbert and her team of culinarians. Drinks on the covered patio or upstairs on the rooftop bar beside a fire pit overlooking Big Spring Park in downtown Huntsville. Visit rhythmonmonroe.com to view menus, make reservations, and see what local musicians are performing. No matter what your rhythm is, find it at Rhythm on Monroe.
Valley Equipment Rental has grown by leaps and bounds over the past year and is adding more and more equipment to their already impressive fleet. Valley is a locally owned family equipment rental business serving the entire Tennessee Valley. They concentrate on the local contractors, building repeat business and specializing in long-term rentals for their local contractors. The benefit of long-term rental is that they stay on top of their assets. If something you own goes down in the field, you have to stop and fix it before you can finish the job. With Valley Equipment Rental, they will fix it on site or bring you another machine while that one's being fixed. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and asking for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Over 60 years ago, our founding father taught us the value of being dedicated to long-term customer satisfaction in every transaction we do, sales, parts, and service. Bobby White here for Woody Anderson Ford, thanking you for your loyalty for over 60 years, and we promise to keep working hard to earn your business every day. Just so happens that for 46 of those 60 years, our F-150 has been the best-selling truck in America. And now is a great time to drive one. We've got over 100 F-150s to choose from, and financing as low as 2.9% for up to 5 years on 2022 F-150s. With your good credit through Ford Motor Credit, offer ends February 28th. Or if a nearly new Ford fits you better, trade in and trade up to a Ford Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you'll take them home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Woody Anderson Ford celebrating over 60 years of service to Huntsville, and we look forward to serving you.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Friday morning. It is a Friday morning, and the dust has settled as far as high school basketball goes for right now. We stamped the final tickets yesterday to the state championship. Every ticket has been punched. The finals are set to go. They will get underway at Legacy Arena. I still call it the BJCC, but it's called Legacy Arena now. Finals will get underway Monday. You got your 1A finals, your 2A semifinals, and then your 3A, 4A on Tuesday, 5A, 6A on Wednesday, Your 7A semifinals will get underway on Thursday. And then Thursday night, you'll have your 1A and 2A state championships. So all the finals down there at the BJCC getting underway. And I mean, when you look at, we talk about have we undersold how good the SEC is. Each year we go through this with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. The basketball in North Alabama is simply outstanding, Drew. And, the amount of teams heading to Birmingham in the next 7 days is going to be impressive.
Yeah, it is, no doubt about it. I mean, we consider ourselves the hub of, high school basketball in the state. And yet again, I mean, we certainly had some disappointments. I mean, I think everyone thought that Huntsville had a really good shot to get to the 7A Final Four. They fell just short. And that happens sometimes. And yesterday, on the other side of it, Westminster gutted out a win against Deschler. Of course, both of those are North Alabama teams, really. But it's one of those things where I think Ronnie Stabler's got a really good shot to win his 4th championship, even though I think the Jacksonville Golden Eagles are really good. That came to the Huntsville City Classic for the 2nd straight year and are the defending 4A state champions, no doubt about it. When you look at it, and I know that they are definitely in our listenership for your high school football scoreboard show. The Mars Hill boys, I watched them win. They've got a chance to win a championship.
That's the 2A.
No, and that's 2A.
Yeah.
Girls as well. So they pulled off what's really hard to do. Mars Hill, both of their squads, boys and girls, are both in the 2A. And then, before I forget, let me not forget this because I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was one of those things where it's just the neatest thing because it's the first time ever for them. But let's give a lot of kudos to Oakwood Academy and 1A boys.
Yeah, we made a big deal about the conversation
when they had to forfeit in the Sweet 16. That was terrible. But this year they do win it over at Jacksonville in the Northeast Regional. They're going to take on Taugaville at 1:30 p.m. on Monday. And then if they were to win, they would Florala and Covenant Christian. Covenant Christian, also from North Alabama, they are actually the 1A defending champs. And so that you could have a battle of North Alabama in the finals potentially if Covenant Christian and Oakwood Academy play each other. So that is a really cool storyline to follow. And then, of course, the Clements Lady Colts. I watched them take out Lauderdale County, Scott. You know how it is, death taxes in Lauderdale County.
Yeah.
They're so
Brent
good.
Llewellyn and company.
But Clements, they did a great job winning that game. I saw that game down there. And then Susan Moore's ladies, the alma mater of one Ryan C. Fowler, who joins the show quite a bit. Susan Moore is outstanding. We heard Craig McGill talking about them yesterday from New Hope when he joined the show. And Susan Moore and Clements are both in the Final Four in 3A girls. 3A boys, death taxes and the Plainview Bears. They're going to take on Pete Miller's Sumter Central alma mater. That's going to be a really good game, and that will be at 1:30 on Tuesday.
Scottsboro boys are in 5A. Buckhorn, of course, in there in 6A. Priceville girls, I did not.
Wow, that was unreal.
But this is their first ever trip, I believe, to the Final Four.
I mean,
I was like scratching my head going, I could have sworn.
Well, I mean, they have to go through some really good teams. I mean, that pod over there in 4A girls,
is
Scott,
awfully tough.
Was awfully tough. I mean, they had to beat a really good JP2 team in the semifinal, in the Sweet 16 round. And then you're talking about Jana Killen's Deschler Tigers, who had already beaten number 1 Good Hope. And so,
that's a big
and Priceville came out of that pod. That is huge.
Sparkman girls in 7A are going. Hazel Green girls in 6A. Tim Miller looking to stamp yet another state championship.
And I know Steve mentioned it on the broadcast. We knew he'd be there watching his son, but kudos to Buckhorn.
Yeah,
I mean, Patrick Harding, so many years as a coach. His first Final Four berth, Scott, for his squads. He's had some Albertville teams that were good enough to probably win it, but had to go through some really tough regionals at Jacksonville State. So when you look at it, Buckhorn taking on McGill Tillman and Philip Murphy, that'll be a 10:30 a.m. game on on Wednesday.
Right.
And then they get the winner of Paul Bryant or Mountain Brook. So if Mountain Brook and Buckhorn take on each other for the 6A state title, those are two teams that were in the Huntsville City Classic.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Richard with us now. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. Got a couple of hoop questions here. I saw Stanford won the Southern Conference, I guess yesterday or in the last day or two.
Yeah, Stanford. Yeah.
Any idea what their conference gets for having a tournament? I mean, I guess on Drew's favorite station, ESPN. I mean, I just can't understand. You get your best team in. Then you have a tournament, and you basically could get your worst team in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be in Asheville, North Carolina. I know that much.
Yeah, I read an article on that yesterday, and I knew that Bucky and those guys were near the top of the standings with Furman, but they've clinched at least a tie for it. Now, on Saturday at the Hannah Center, if they win it outright. But like Scott said, they've got to go to Asheville, North Carolina, and it's still a one-bid league, and you're going to have to win the conference tournament. Now, it's interesting, though. I've seen some projections, and Richard, and they've got Samford, if they win the automatic bid, in Alabama's regional, but on the other side as a 15 seed, taking on 2 seed like a UCLA. But that would be really interesting and huge for Bucky and, what he's done in his third year at Samford.
Like I said, I just kind of wonder what they want to be on TV. But I just kind of wonder, by the time you split, let's just say $300,000 between 15 teams, and I mean they need these schools need the money, but it looks like to me, because like a few years ago you could have had Murray State with John Morant not getting in.
Yeah,
to me,
that's
crazy to have a team that could possibly win a game, and then you have a tournament to knock them out. Like the SEC tournament doesn't matter, unless you're somebody like Georgia from 10 years ago. And you win it, and get in, and the coach saves his job for 1 year. But the most, like last year, Tennessee was in and they won it. It's just, it's a money,
Yeah, your Power 5 conferences, it doesn't matter so much. The SEC, the Big Ten, those conferences, it doesn't really matter because you're going to get 5, 6, 7 teams in and year out. Where you look at the A-Sun conference, for example. I mean, there's been several years where Liberty has been so good, but Liberty, if they don't win that A-Sun, they're not getting in.
Yeah.
Well, Brady Acuff has told us this on the show. I mean, you have to be. He's made points, Scott. You have to be hot, and the biggest thing when you're in the A-Sun or a league like that is being healthy the last couple of weeks and really starting to round into form and having everybody playing well so you can put together a 3 or 4 game stretch where you can get in.
Well, look at the College of Charleston. For
27-3.
They have 27 wins.
Right.
If they don't win their conference tournament, they're not getting into the NCAA tournament.
They're going to the NIT.
And they have 27 wins, the most in the country.
Mm-hmm, that's right. I mean, John Rothstein was making a point of that, saying they're 27-3. But when you look at the projections, like you said, Scott, they've got to win their conference tournament or they're not getting in.
Yeah, like I said, you get on TV, and I'm sure you get some money, but to me it's just not worth it to knock out a team that could possibly, win a game, in the tournament. And then I saw, Drew's favorite word here, national sports writers are pushing to have, I guess, the 4-16 seeds not play each other and have the last, I guess, the last, be like the 11th seed.
Yeah, the last 4 in play each other. Yeah.
To me, if like you have Alabama A&M here in the SWAC, to me, the only way you're going to win a game in the tournament is playing that first 4 in.
Yeah, and I think it's good exposure and it's a huge win for your program if you can beat someone, that they consider on your level. So, and we've already seen UCLA go to the national championship game from the first 4. We saw VCU and Shaka Smart go to the Final 4. So I think the formula is just fine. I saw John Rothstein with that idea, and I don't necessarily agree with it. It sparked some conversation, but I think it's just fine right now. Otherwise, you might have Sean Farnham start crying again.
Are you guys going down to the tournament next week in Birmingham, or?
I will be. Yes, I'm going to go down. Definitely, at least for a day or two, at the very least, if not several. I usually make the pilgrimage. I like seeing a lot of the 7As, the 6As, some of the coaches that I know. Well, Scott and I have just been going over all the local angles, and and you can also watch it on NFHS and things of that nature. But a lot of neat storylines from our backyard over there.
You guys broadcasting any, or do you know?
No, that's out of our control. That's under the plumbers are doing it now.
Yeah, we're all right, Richard.
Thank you.
Thanks for the phone call, Richard. Yeah, we got to get a break in. I know we got Brandon on the phone lines, but we got to get a break in here real fast. We will pick up the conversation when we return. The plumbers. Yep.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Friday, expect scattered showers throughout the day. Otherwise, we'll see a cloudy sky. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid and upper 50s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 25 miles per hour. For your Friday night, we'll keep scattered showers in the forecast, a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures falling back down into the low 50s for the overnight. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working to get a couple of wrecks out of the way this morning. 20 eastbound near Bibb Garrett. That one had a right lane blockage and possibly an injury involved. That one's been a big backup for us headed on 20. And University west of Church. That one ended up with an injury involved, just maybe a few more minutes before they get it cleared out of the way. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions? Intensive Outpatient Programs, or IOP, is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on IOPServicesLLC.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Dang it! There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome back into a Friday edition of Talking Ball. And we're going to wrap it up for the week here at 9 o'clock. Don't forget, tomorrow, Alabama will take on Arkansas. UAH will take on Valdosta State. Let's go back out to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning, just like Brandon is. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Man, I heard y'all talking about backyards. I was standing out here looking at mine. It's supposed to be filled up with concrete today.
Uh-oh, the swimming pool.
The concrete pond.
Yeah.
Last Friday, I know y'all didn't hear from me for quite a while. I got up, and that dirt hole in the ground out there, it rained so much that pool was completely full of water. They had to come pump all of it out.
Oh, wow.
I got pictures of it. I got up. My neighbor said, "Have you looked in your yard?" I said, "What the hell?" I was like, "Oh, my God." I was like, "That's like 50,000 gallons of water." Just so much water run off. So I kind of felt like, I don't know if y'all remember that video from Aerosmith crying back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Dorff and Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, I remember.
She does that backwards header off the bridge and gives him the finger. I felt like that's what the pool did to me. So, and I know Drew's been all over this all week. The tweet by Clay Travis, where he says, Brandon Miller's gun. I don't know how much money that's going to cost him.
I hope it cost him millions, to be honest with you, because he's a piece of trash.
Yes, you cannot go off making errant statements like that. You didn't say allegedly. You just straight out.
Yeah, you just straight out lied.
Look, I'll say this, though, and I'll say it, and Brandon brought up a point just right there with his words that says you can't go and make false statements like that. Unfortunately, with the way social media is today, with the way that people look at things, unfortunately, you can. And that is a bad way of looking at it, but you can. There are so many people out there that have a phone and hit record and make statements and make false statements and make innuendos and make all this other stuff. People click it, people watch it, and you get followers, you get subscribers, you get all this other stuff, and you can do it. That's the sad part, is you can do it, and they do.
Well, the Sandman kid, look how much money he took him for. It's different if Joe Blow on the street does it. He's not a media publishing company. Outkick, which I think he sold, is a media publishing company, and they're held to a higher standard. You can't put out false statements like that and think that it's not going to blow back on you. And that has nothing to do with what you think about Brandon Miller. It just has to do with you can't tell lies about people. And that's the biggest thing that got me, is that people were so quick to jump to a conclusion that most people that don't know any better, until you tell them, they think that gun belonged to Brandon Miller, and he got a message, "Hey, bring me a gun, I'm fixing to blow these people away," and he jumped in the car and ran over there and handed it to him.
Oh, yeah.
No, he supplied. He supplied it to him. You can't supply something to somebody that it belongs to them.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, trust me, I have someone sending me DMs and sending me tweets from around the United States and around the SEC, and it's pathetic what these people are saying. I mean, they are completely trashing Miller and Alabama's program and being the holier-than-thou. Well, I couldn't support this. This was my team, blah, blah, blah. They don't even know what really happened. They think Alabama's covering it up. I had to finally block a jackass from Arkansas who said the only reason that Brandon Miller was playing was the lawyers, the police, and everybody involved was an Alabama fan, and they were covering up for it. I mean, you can't fix stupid. You just really can't when people decide what they want to believe.
Nobody's mad about the guy down at LSU that got caught with illegal gun possession that's not even being charged for it.
Yeah, I mean, and what the excuse they'll say is, well, the young lady lost her life, and that's the tragedy of the whole thing. She lost her life. She is gone. That should have never happened. But what my point is, Michael Davis and Darius Miles, the two people responsible for it, are in prison and being prosecuted. Brandon Miller did nothing wrong. He was absolutely, except for being out late at night, which I don't know. 90% of college kids have done that, but it was not the right thing, not the right place to be. It was the wrong decision, very, very poor judgment. But again, especially if and I believe it is true, he didn't know the gun was even in his car. He didn't know what was in his vehicle. What is he supposed to do? Search Darius Miles when he gets in the car? I mean, it's Darius Miles' weapon. He didn't buy the weapon. And it's like you just said, he didn't go, oh, Darius told him to go get his gun, so he went back to the apartment, got Darius Miles' gun, and brought it to him. That is not what happened. I think right before he got there, when he got the text from Miles, he probably knew it was in the back of his car, but he didn't know. He had no idea what was about to go down. For all he knew, Miles was going to defend himself. He didn't know what was happening. He was trying to get out of there because he knew he didn't like the vibe at all, and then the shooting started. He nearly got shot himself. And then these people out here act like he pulled the trigger and that he's partially responsible, which is utter garbage. That is not what happened. You know what I'm saying? But you can't change public opinion because so many. But I will say this again: if he wasn't Brandon Miller, and if he wasn't a lottery pick, and Alabama wasn't 24-4, this wouldn't even be a story. But it's a story because Alabama's got a really good team. He's a great player, and they want the kid off the floor because half of them, or a lot of these people, are rooting for other teams, and they want their squad to win. They're too gutless to admit it, but that's exactly what it's about. It's about how good Alabama is, and honestly, it's just like when you listen to Clay Stupid, read the story. He was reading it verbatim. He had not even really paid attention to it since Darius Miles had been arrested. He didn't even know the girl's name. He's just trying to make sensationalistic headlines because he's an asshole.
All right, thanks for the phone call, Brandon. You got them all fired up. I didn't do it this morning. Although, what is this that I am seeing? What is this bar? D's Nuts?
Yeah, but now this is from Brandon, man. He finds all this random stuff.
What is this candy bar?
It should be via Outkick. It's probably something that Clay Travis came up with.
The Feastables Mr. Beast bar.
Yeah.
Milk chocolate with peanut butter.
There you go.
Called D's Nuts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get a break in. When we come up, we're going to wrap up our number one. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working to get a couple of wrecks out of the way this morning. 20 eastbound near Bibb Garrett. That one had a right lane blockage and possibly an injury involved. That one's been a big backup for us headed on 20. And University west of Church. That one ended up with an injury involved just maybe a few more minutes before they get it cleared out of the way. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
As we flip that calendar into February, a lot of things happening. You got Valentine's Day, you got the Madness of March, and you've got tax season all around the corner. Thomas from Talent Heating and Air is in studio with us to remind us, Thomas, you don't want to forget about your heating and air system as well.
Yeah, that's right. During tax season is a great time to look at upgrading your system or making a repair maybe you've been putting off. We're going to help you out with that. We're going to do a $1,000 discount if you mention this ad, and give you a little bit of an extra rebate this tax season.
And you also want to make sure it is tuned up and ready to go for that spring season.
Yeah, spring in Alabama can be 90-degree days, right? So we want you to be ready for that ahead of time, so you can give us a call, and we're going to do a $49 special for all the listeners of this.
All right, that phone number?
It is 256-503-4490.
It's Talon Heating and Air's $49 tune-up special. Give them a call today.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is responsible for bringing high-level sports entertainment to the Rocket City. In 2023, enjoy events like the CCSA Beach Volleyball Championships, Hometown Lenders Championship, UCI Paracycling Road World Cup, and so much more. To learn more about upcoming events and the Huntsville Sports Commission, visit huntsvillesports.com. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports.
Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance, located in the Rosie's Shopping Plaza, strives to help customers find the best auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and more. No matter where you are in life, Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance is here to help you find your best insurance and retirement needs. You can find them on the web at brianbellamyagency.com or call them at 256-539-7530. Brian Bellamy is a proud supporter of Huntsville High basketball. Brian Bellamy State Farm, here to help life go right.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions, intensive outpatient programs, or IOP is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on iopservicesllc.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
The college basketball regular season is winding down, and the football specials at Humphrey's Bar and Grill are now going to extend into basketball season with football specials during every Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Don't miss Humphrey's game day specials from $2.75 Miller Lite, Yingling, Coors Light pints, $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold pints. Anytime Auburn or Alabama is on the screen, Humphrey's, always a party, never a cover. Located online at humphreysdowntown.com.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
Welcome back, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Friday morning. Welcome back into the show. The phone lines are where we go right out of the break. Jason is with us this morning. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, sir.
Good.
Good. Hey, I had a question about Darius Miles. So I was curious to know, has he had any past major team infractions that we know of?
He did last year. Yeah, he got suspended last year.
Violent stuff?
Not violent, but, I mean, just not doing the things they wanted him to do. I don't think he was the most focused cat off the floor, but he had some he got suspended for a few games last year, yes, and I do know that he nearly didn't come back to the squad, and I've already said this on the record. The biggest mistake Alabama made was they should have shipped him into the portal. I mean, at the end of last year.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that kind of be falling Nate Oates, right?
Well, he that's what I was told. That the staff basically it was split. I think there was some on the staff that wanted him to transfer, and there were some that wanted him back, and they ended up deciding it. I guess they took a vote and decided to bring him back. And when he was on the floor and when he was on the bench, he wasn't a problem. He rooted for his teammates. He had a lot of energy. He didn't always play smart, which goes back to the decision he ultimately made that's ruined his life, making dumb decisions. But he certainly played hard, and I think they thought that he could still have a role on the team, but in hindsight, it was a mistake. So the problem is he just couldn't leave guys behind that he should have from it, because I mean that dude Michael Davis was his best friend from middle school. He should have left him behind a long time ago, because the dude's just not a good person.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. I mean, he goes and does that to another person, kills them. You would think that he has a past history of infractions or getting out of line.
I don't know this whole past. I don't know if he had some background as as far as like a criminal record or anything of that nature. I've never heard of that. Right. I would think that Alabama wouldn't have touched him, but certainly he. I'll just say this: showed a lot of immaturity off the floor, and ultimately he's going to pay the ultimate price for it.
Yeah. And do you think Brandon Miller, it would be good for him to come out and say, hey, I didn't do anything, but I did put myself in a bad situation, and I'm sorry for that. Do you think that would go a long way?
No, I think that might make it. I think that might make it worse.
A lot of these people have already made their judgment. They're just going to think that it's fake.
Look, when it comes time for the NBA draft, here's the thing: all this stuff here. Brandon Miller is going to get hammered by NBA teams when he decides ultimately to go to the NBA. This is something that'll get brought up when he visits with NBA teams one-on-one. It'll get brought up because they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. It'll get brought up in front of all of them. And I think that's when he will tell them behind, not public, but he will tell them exactly what happened. He will tell them everything, and I think it'll all play itself out into his favor down the road.
Yeah, well, I'll just say I've got some NBA connections and someone that's very well connected in the league, and so far it has not affected Brandon Miller at all. They're watching it and they're monitoring it, but I think they're actually doing their homework, unlike half these jackasses in the media.
All right, Brandon. All right, thanks for the phone call, but we got to move on. We got short time left here in hour one. Real fast, Let's get to Bama Bino. Good morning, Bama Bino.
What's up, Bama Bino?
Good morning, guys. I got to call in after Brandon Georgia call, so I can say, let's go, Brandon.
There we go.
I really enjoy hearing him. He kind of thinks like that there. And I know a Joe we need to throw in that pool he's down there. But anyway, Plainview's back in it, and yes, see Scottsboro in my area, Plainview and Scottsboro, I think Tez the Goon's going to be. So I'm glad we've got some common sense broadcasters that don't do like mine, which I only listen to him before y'all come on of an evening because it's on that station. But he's playing devil's advocate for Brandon, and in a minute he's down in the university for having those standards. I'm going to worry. I think he's anybody it'll hunt. I'm glad that we've got confident people like you guys and all the staff there that can put things in perspective and have an everyday man's perspective of it and not be politically correct.
Well, I appreciate it, Bambino. We try to tell the truth and give our opinion on it, but we also don't try to sensationalize, and we certainly don't want to tear anyone down. And that's unfortunately the tone of the media, and a lot of it is people that don't do any research. They just read something and think it's the gospel, and then they start trying to ruin people, because if they just don't, if they think what you did is disgusting, or if they make a snap judgment, my biggest thing is, though, they make a snap judgment and then they don't even apologize for it. Now,
right.
Nate Oates apologized for making some unfortunate comments, but some of these people like Clay Travis, who print stuff like Brandon Miller's gun, which is a blatant outright lie, they're not going to come back and apologize for it because they're pieces of trash.
All right, Bambino, I hate to do it to you, but we are short on time. I want to get to Jimmy real fast.
No, he's coming back.
Oh, okay.
He's coming back. Calling back in the next hour. So
Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Bambino. All right. Appreciate it.
All right, well, we still are short on time.
Yeah, we're about a minute to go.
Ready to get here on hour number one as we count down towards the start of our weekend here on 97.7. Now, coming up here at the top of the hour, we're going to talk some Florida football, and we mentioned it earlier in the week. But Austin Armstrong indeed is with the Florida Gators as their defensive coordinator. And is that a reach for Florida and Billy Napier? Is that a reach for him, do you think? I mean, I know Austin Armstrong is up and coming, but it seemed like the role at Alabama was maybe perfect for him to learn some more. But is this a reach for Billy Napier?
I wouldn't say so. I think it's he's considered one of the best young defensive minds in all of college football. Glenn Schumann went from Alabama to Georgia on the field for Kirby. That certainly worked out well. And Dan Lanning did the same thing. Both of those guys were off-field guys and worked their way up and went to Georgia, got on the field, and did outstanding. So I think Billy Napier is thinking along the same lines. Certainly, that wasn't his original plan. He wanted to hold on to his staff, but he had 2 staff members go to the National Football League, and I think it does show Billy had some really good coaches on his staff. Now, the roster was not in great shape thanks to Darth Vader, who didn't leave a lot of good players because he was a terrible recruiter, and that's why he got his tail canned. But anyway, I mean, he's still trying to clean up the mess. But again, we'll see. But I think Austin Armstrong did a great job in his 2 years at Southern Miss, if you look inside the numbers. And I think he did great. I mean, but see, the thing is, that when the coordinator hires, like Alabama's were criticized by some fans, but you have to look at the circumstances of those coordinators and why some of the things happened, instead of just looking at from a pure number standpoint and saying, well, the guy's offense was 60th or his defense was 100th, and you're not looking at, what he inherited, who he was working for, and other things of that nature.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, Mark McLeod will join us, and we will fill you in on everything that has happened with Billy Napier and the Florida Gators.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Futures odds for the 2023 NCAA Men's Basketball National Championship. The Houston Cougars the favorite at plus 700. They're followed by Alabama and Kansas. Both teams a plus $900 bet. The Purdue Boilermakers plus 1,200. Last night, number 4 UCLA beat Utah 78-71. The Bruins were favored by 7. Number 12 Gonzaga 97-72 winners over San Diego. The Bulldogs were a 23-point favorite. Number 15 St. Mary's 83-52 winners over Pacific. The Gales were favored by 13. Illinois upset number 21 Northwestern 66-62. The Illini were favored by 7.5.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you. One more hour to go before we kick off the weekend, but before we do, plenty of fun stuff and plenty of good stuff to get to here in hour number 2. Hour number 1, we just recapped everything going on for the weekend as far as SEC basketball goes. UAH basketball got you all caught up there. We'll recap some of that and get you set again for the weekend. But we ended hour number 1 talking about Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. Austin Armstrong spending a short time in Tuscaloosa, coming from Southern Miss to Tuscaloosa, now jetting to Gainesville.
Not a month, maybe, not even really a month.
He said it was surreal. He said one day he wakes up and he was at Alabama, then the next minute he knows he's walking into Coach Saban's office to tell him that in disgust that he's going to Florida, and the Florida jet is in Tuscaloosa taking him to Gainesville. It's been a surreal experience for him. But is Billy Napier pushing all the right buttons right now?
Well, I mean, he's trying to build his organization and his staff. And obviously, if people are hiring your folks in the National Football League, you're doing something right. I know they had some issues defensively last year, but I still think a lot of it was personnel-based, and I still think there was a mess left by the previous coach. And that was Dan Mullen, because recruiting was not good. And, as our next guest would tell us, Todd Grantham was there too. And that's why so many Alabama fans were ready to have a drink because they were scared he was going to be the defensive coordinator. I was never worried about that. I know he was an analyst, but, again, people were really worried about that. But we are going to go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It's great to catch up with him. He is host of The Blitz with Mark McLeod on WFOY daily radio program. Also, the Gator Blitz and the Gridiron Growl podcast, and that is Mark McLeod. Mark, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Drew. Good to be on with you and Scott.
Yeah, good to be on. Thank you for having us and coming on with us this morning. Really interesting, those moves. As we were already talking with Austin Armstrong when I talked to someone who covered him at Southern Miss, youngest defensive coordinator in Division I football the last couple of years. He's only 29 years old. A lot of youthful energy, but interesting. Billy loses some coaches, in an interesting time when the NFL is going through their transition, but a young, energetic guy coming in. I know you were discouraged with some of the things defensively that they did, but in your mind, was it coaching more? Was it personnel? What were the issues for the Gators defensively last year?
I think you hit it on the head. Yeah, I really do, Drew. I think it was more personnel driven. It really was. And look, if you need more evidence of that, just look at the transfer portal.
Right.
Florida's got a fourth of their team in the transfer portal, actually a third of their team. But yeah, it was rather telling, what was going on there. And it's funny. I remember sitting and watching the Florida-Georgia game in the pregame, and I turned to a guy next to me, John Frary, and I said, let me tell you something. Florida is going to have to go 10 to 15 deep in the transfer portal if they want to turn this thing around. You watch those Georgia guys in warm-ups, and you watch the Florida guys, and just looking at them, they're different. They're different. And Billy Napier knows he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Well, what do we make of the fact that it's 3 assistant coaches in a week that have left the Florida staff?
I don't think we make a whole lot of it, to be honest with you. Again, and here's why. I think, number one, you're seeing a lot of coaches make that exodus into the NFL because of the insanity of college football with recruiting. And the NCAA is just, could you possibly mismanage just more than they have? We were told before NIL ever started, before the transfer portal, we were being told, man, college coaches work insane hours, blah, blah, blah. And down here, I mean, Urban Meyer, alluded to that when he left in 2010 even, But I think it's only gotten worse with the transfer portal, with NIL. Coaches are having to recruit every single day, even on their own team. So I get it. I get why guys that are younger that have families want to be able to spend time with that family. And if you're going to do that, you better go to the NFL or you better go to high school. And the other thing, Scott, with that, if these guys were going to take an analyst position somewhere, I'd scratch my head and go, oh boy. But these guys are going to take positions in Arizona, in Denver, with NFL teams, and I think that from that perspective, that's why I see it as a no-brainer for some of these young coaches.
Well, and I meant just to get your opinion too, Mark. I've said this. I think they're going to continue to have to adjust the transfer portal windows. It doesn't need to overlap when you're signing most of your class early in December because a lot of them early enroll. I just think that's too much to have to deal with. And then you have all these guys opting out and not even playing in the bowl game. And then even if you're in Alabama, you have trouble putting together a two-deep along your offensive line for the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The schedule, the calendar needs to be adjusted, and it should have been done years ago, with regard to some of the things going on. Obviously, now that transfer portal has been going on a few years, that should have been one of the first things they did because you had to see this coming down the road. It's just ridiculous. And I don't know how these guys manage it. Obviously, you got enormous staffs at places like Alabama, Florida, Georgia, some of these other schools. But how you keep a handle on it and communicate, that's why Saban is the GOAT. That's why Kirby Smart has learned. He's made adjustments in Athens during his time there, and he's got it going. It's just something that I think the NCAA is, to no surprise, has completely failed on, and they need to get a handle on this and try to get this under control.
Well, obviously, spring practice, though, just around the corner. What I believe they start, Florida does very soon, first spring?
Yeah, what are you guys doing the 4th? There's a couple of vacancies. Still, I mean, the timing of this is the thing that hurts you. I mean, goodness gracious, we just got wrapped up the Super Bowl in this, So now you've got you've got coaches keeping an eye, and their sports staff obviously keeping an eye on what's going on with other teams and other guys that are jumping in the portal. But for Florida, you've got Kerry Colbert, wide receiver coach, is going to Denver. Who's going to replace him? You've got Pegler, the tight ends coach, going to Arizona. Who's going to replace him? Obviously, as you guys alluded to, Austin Armstrong coming in. So you got to imagine it's going to be interesting. And having Austin Armstrong come in, maybe they pick his brain a little bit. Say, hey, you see any offensive coaches on that side? I'm sure they have that discussion. But typically, you got a guy coming in on the defensive side that's going to be a co-coordinator or whatever he's going to do. I guess that's what Napier's still going to do. We'll see. But you'll pick his brain to fill a defensive vacancy. But the issues at Florida is both of these guys at wide receiver and tight end. Those are offensive vacancies. So you think Napier and maybe Rob Sale and company would be more apt to make those moves.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. And like they're saying, it's running young coaches out of the college game and older coaches because, they can go to high school, and some of these high schools are paying 6 figures if you can get the right job, especially as a head coach. and you don't have to teach. And then, or in the NFL, where there's a better quality of life, you don't have to recruit. It's the front office to sign free agents, run the draft. It's just one of those things. They're going to have to adjust it because, and that's what makes Nick Saban, amazing, is that he continues to grind. Now, some think this will drive him out in a year or two. We'll see. I think it's kind of a situation where he likes to be challenged. He likes to figure it out. But it has changed the game dramatically. And I know you just mentioned Kirby Smart and what a great job he's done. He certainly has, winning 2 straight. But eventually he's going to start losing coaches like Dabo Swinney did. We've seen Dabo take a step back. It's going to be interesting to see if Kirby, can continue to perform at this high a level, and the moves Billy Napier makes to try to, get Florida improving and on the right track, because I know he wasn't happy with the way they finished. But again, I still think a lot of it is what he inherited. It kind of reminded me of the first year of Josh Heupel in that they didn't finish the way they wanted to either, and he inherited a lot of issues. Same situation with Billy. But I am going to be really interested to see these moves coming up 9 days before the first practice.
Yeah, and look, all eyes will be on the quarterback position in Gainesville.
Right.
But those eyes are going to be awfully busy because, goodness gracious, you can throw away last year's program and because you're going to need a new one to try to figure out what's going on with some of the transfers that Florida has coming in. And look, honestly, last year he signed a pretty good core group in recruiting.
Yeah.
He really did. He did a nice job in the transfer portal. In my opinion, he didn't go deep enough in the transfer portal. I said that before last season. I thought he should have gone deeper in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
This year, he's had to go deeper in the portal. I don't think he got some of the guys, obviously, that he really wanted. I think that's an area where he really needs to improve. But they got a few quality kids. But all eyes are going to be on the quarterback position, who are going to be wide receivers that can step up. I think a good recruiting class, a really, really strong recruiting class this year, Drew, and I think they're gonna need to focus, and really the core group is now built out of these last 2 classes and maybe 3 or 4 guys out of the portal, but Florida needs a whole lot more.
I kind of laughed yesterday when I saw a CBS projection.
Oh, here we go.
I got to bring, because he's covered him.
I know, but I'd ask him the same question.
I saw Anthony Richardson.
He's seen a lot of great quarterbacks at Florida. Yeah. Is Anthony Richardson the first pick in the draft?
Is he? I mean, come on. What do we make of his NFL potential?
Wow.
Well, what did you guys not see last year to convince you?
I mean, he did some great things at times, but man.
Come on, you got to put on your Mel Kiper hat.
I mean, I don't know, man. I was thinking of you and John Ferry in the press box, thinking at times y'all might have to go back and go in the press box and ask for something stronger in your Coke. Physically, the guy is unbelievable.
Yes. Measurables, he has it all.
Yes, you're right. And look, in terms of making decisions on the field and taking the ball to the right place, he does a really good job there, too. Sometimes it's just a pretty good job, but usually he does a good job there. His problem is accuracy and confidence. You watch him, and he went through long stretches in a few games last year where he just wasn't throwing the ball well, and the receiver wasn't able, even though he may have had a step on the defender, the ball wasn't there. It was behind him. It was over his head. It was, and that is the biggest issue with Anthony Richardson. And when he's not completing passes, he seems to go into a little bit of a funk.
Yeah,
and doesn't do it. I thought that he should be running the ball a little bit more, maybe make some things happen on the ground, get some confidence in yourself, and then start throwing the ball a little bit. But honestly, there were times he told us in press conferences, guys, well, I didn't really want to run it. I wanted to throw it. And you're like, come on. But accuracy and confidence are things they're going to have to overcome. And I think that's what some of the scouts and the GMs, the coaches are seeing, and that maybe they think they can get through and kind of rebuild Anthony Richardson.
And I got to say, before we let you go, Mark, this is Mark McLeod, as we said, WFOI daily radio program, the afternoon, the Blitz. I've been on that program, really enjoyed it, and of course, he said he has the Gridiron Growl podcast as well. Does a great job covering the Florida Gators. What is the vibe and then the thought on Todd Golden in year one with the Gators? I know it's been a little tough. Castleton going down is really difficult, best player, but what, is the ultimate thought about where this program is under him in year one?
I think people are pretty good there because, again, there were a lot of issues with him, with the Florida program, obviously, for the past few years.
Yeah.
You don't lose a guy like Johnson, who is an All-American.
Keontae, yep.
And try to rebuild that. I mean, Johnson with Castleton would have been phenomenal. But you've got some young players. The problem for Florida, they were playing great defense. They have not played great defense the past few weeks. And, they have no scores. I mean, they've really struggled to score and get some things going. And the absence of Castleton has only made things more difficult. So you got the kid from Orlando who's lighting it up a little bit for him, but he's a freshman, and of course Golden is an international recruiter. He did
interesting.
a great job at San Francisco doing that. So the hope is, Drew, that he'll find some pieces over there, that guys that can score a little bit and play some defense. And defensively, I think, except for the last couple weeks, there's been a nice improvement there. Now it's not there, but offense is what they need in Gainesville.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, we're talking to Mark McLeod. We appreciate it, Mark. Thank you for joining us. And again, don't forget he has the Blitz with Mark McLeod each and every day on WFOY, and then the Gator Blitz Daily Podcast and the Gridiron Growl. We always appreciate your time, man, and thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thanks a lot, Drew, Scott. Always good to be on with you.
Thanks. We got to get a break in. At least now I know that Anthony, that's just a click thing right there for Anthony.
Oh, come on. It can't possibly. Like Mark said, if you can do, he can do a backflip. Congratulations, like a standing backflip, and he can throw the ball 75 yards, and he could probably run a 4.40. But, when you're talking about hitting a target, and he's hitting the bull a lot, to bring up Bull Durham, and he's having trouble processing information. There's no way in hell him and Will Levis being the first two quarterbacks drafted is an insult to football.
All right, so if you were staring at the draft board, you had Will Levis or Anthony Richardson in like the 5th round. Which one would you take?
In the 5th round?
Yeah, let's just say they were both available in the 5th round. I'm probably underselling them. Which one would you take, Richardson or Levis?
I would probably take Levis. I've seen him make more big-time throws. I really haven't seen Anthony Richardson do a whole lot. I think Anthony's the better athlete. There's no question about that. But first or second, I was afraid you were going to say with the first or second pick.
No.
Hell, what was it with the Vikings one time? They forgot to they didn't get their pick in.
Yes,
time,
they lost their pick.
I would probably just have to do that or go drink. There's no way I couldn't do it. I'd have to ask, why aren't we taking Bryce Young? Is anybody sober?
Oh, let's get a break in. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It appears we're rolling along in pretty good shape now. Our accidents from earlier should be out of the way. Watch for utility work on Big Cove between Montdale and Covewood. They should finish that one up today, but it may be closed throughout the day. Popeye's famous chicken sandwich is only $4.99. Crispy tender chicken on a delicious toasted brioche bun. Love that chicken from Popeye's, University and Jordan, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance, located in the Rosie's Shopping Plaza, strives to help customers find the best auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and more. No matter where you are in life, Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance is here to help you find your best insurance and retirement needs. You can find them on the web at brianbellamyagency.com or call them at 256-539-7530. Brian Bellamy is a proud supporter of Huntsville High basketball. Brian Bellamy State Farm, here to help life go right.
The crimson and white jerseys.
Front court to the rack and the play.
The sound of a buzzer beater.
Got it to go as the buzzer sounds.
The Roll Tide chant from the crowd. It can only be Alabama basketball. Join the Alabama Crimson Tide right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Over 60 years ago, our founding father taught us the value of being dedicated to long-term customer satisfaction in every transaction we do, sales, parts, and service. Bobby White here for Woody Anderson Ford, thanking you for your loyalty for over 60 years, and we promise to keep working hard to earn your business every day. Just so happens that for 46 of those 60 years, our F-150 has been the best-selling truck in America. And now is a great time to drive one. We've got over 100 F-150s to choose from, and financing as low as 2.9% for up to 5 years on 2022 F-150s. With your good credit through Ford Motor Credit, offer ends February 28th. Or if a nearly new Ford fits you better, trade in and trade up to a Ford Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you'll take them home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Woody Anderson Ford, celebrating over 60 years of service to Huntsville. And we look forward to serving you.
The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. See all the delicious options at Cheeseburger Bobby's for yourself. Check out the menu and more at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone on a Friday morning, and WCZ and Half Off Deals is a place to be right now because Bubby's Diner is live.
It's already nearly gone, man. You better hurry, everybody.
$50 worth of food for $25, and you can just hop on down there and grab some breakfast. The Western omelet, the hash brown casserole,
Yeah.
And the French toast. Go
homemade waffles, man. They got homemade waffles now.
They do. They're good. But I'm just saying what my order was.
Oh, I know.
Just eat the whole thing. I mean, don't. So when she asked
eat faster than Wes because you already had the whole thing eaten by the end of the show.
When she asks you what you want, grits and all, just say you don't want toast or grits. Tell them you want hash brown casserole.
Oh.
And then tell them you want an order of French toast.
With hot sauce.
And she will say 1 or 2 pieces. You got to say 2. That's how you order there. That's what I order when I go there.
Yeah, I mean they've got an outstanding menu there, man. I mean their lunch menu's great, dinner, but again, like Scott said, unbelievable breakfast. We were just over there a couple weeks ago, and I think the Czar is going to be over there today from 12 to 2 with him and Chad Guathny going to be doing the show, but the Czar is going to be partaking in some of that food. And I'll just go ahead and make a prediction. By the time the Czar darkens the door there, it'll be sold out.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
but
no doubt.
Hey, it's good food.
It is.
And Chris Bubby Belcher is
Man, tell you what,
front, and his mama. If mama's in there as well, she'll take care of you.
No question.
But here's what I'm mad about, though. You and I have been there twice now, and we've done all this other stuff. I went there with my wife the other day, and the Czar has his name on the bacon jam burger.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. I'm like, how? Well, how has the Czar got his name on the bacon jam burger?
Is it called the Czar?
No, but it's like...
That's what they should call it.
It's listed as the Czar's favorite burger.
Does it say Tom's or the Czar?
It says the Tom.
Well, it should be called the Czar.
It should be called the Czar.
It should. And
That's
by the way,
that's how he's
our
referred to
resourceful
here.
producer Chad Guathny is taking full advantage of this and eating at Bubby's right now.
Is he really?
He is.
What is he having?
7 left now.
I know, but
There's
what?
7. He is having ham, grits, eggs, and hash brown casserole.
Okay, the hash brown casserole, I'm all in on. But see, the Western omelet is phenomenal.
It is.
I love the Western omelet. So, all right. 256-576-4977. Just a short time before we, by the way, and we talked about how fast Florida is starting spring practice. When we come back here on our show on Monday, when we come back and sit in these chairs on Monday, Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers will kick off spring practice.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Brian Matthews about that. That's pretty crazy, man.
On Monday,
that's
they will
as early as I can remember. I mean, we haven't even had an SEC baseball game yet from a standpoint of conference game, and they're already starting. Wow.
I don't know why, and I just saw this, that Auburn was supposed to play Southern Cal on the road this weekend, but I believe that game has been moved to Auburn. Is it because of the snowstorm out there on the West Coast?
Because of the weather and all that, yeah. And Joe.
Okay.
I'm sure he caused it.
He caused the snowstorm.
I'm sure. He or his son.
Just to raise the gas prices out there. Although my son, though, did send me pictures, and Coos Bay in Oregon is no exception to the snowstorm.
Right.
And they got a lot of snow yesterday out there in Oregon. They have not had classes for 2 days.
Wow.
Thursday or Friday. No classes out there because of the gigantic snowstorm that is pounding the West Coast right now.
Well, I hope he stocked up with food, man.
He didn't stock up with food.
Did you FedEx or something?
No. So I get a text yesterday from my wife. Oh, by the way, I've ordered Landon some food from Walmart twice now, so he can go and get it.
Oh, go and get it. I gotcha.
Yeah.
No delivery.
How does that work? We live here. The kid is 20 years old. He can go
how
to
close
Walmart.
is the Walmart in
It's
Oregon?
like 5 minutes from. It's like less than 5 minutes from his house.
He was probably going to have delivery or something.
No, it's less than 5 minutes. He is 20 years old, and he calls and says, "Hey, can you order? Can you just?" I don't know.
That sounds like Richie Rich or something.
I don't know.
To bring back the
Mama's taking care of his
of
an
oldie but goodie Richie Rich stuff there, where where the butler's going to get everything. I don't know.
Yeah. So we place the order for Walmart. Not we. She places the order, and then he goes and gets it.
Yeah.
Although he is having surgery today, by the way. Though, so I mean,
that goes well,
yeah.
And
Anyway.
by the way, our resourceful producers, we witnessed ourselves too, Scott. It's very crowded over at Bubby's.
At Bubby's, is
Yes.
it really?
Yes.
It should be.
Yeah.
Everybody
but
should
it's
be
got to
eating
be changed to the Czar, not Tom's. It's got to be the Czar.
I know. Everybody's calling him the Tom. No, his name is the Czar. He is not Tom.
It's got to be called the Czar. And then that'll create conversation because everybody will be like, who's the Czar?
The Czar is Tom.
Yeah.
It's not Tom is, the Czar. It is
It's
the
called
Czar.
the Czar.
And it's been that way for 3 years. I think
Yeah.
we've started that 3 years ago.
We did.
When he first got here. All right, let's get a break in. Let's talk Auburn spring football and basketball. They got a big one tomorrow against Kentucky. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Friday, expect scattered showers throughout the day. Otherwise, we'll see a cloudy sky. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid and upper 50s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 25 miles per hour. For your Friday night, we'll keep scattered showers in the forecast, a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures falling back down into the low 50s for the overnight. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We are quickly moving into last-minute dash mode this morning. Had a couple of wrecks, University west of Church and 20 eastbound near Bibb Garrett. Both of those should be long gone now. Just a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode scrambling to get in on time this morning. Snelling needs customer support reps for Northeast Huntsville, $15 an hour. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick and the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Alabama. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
New coordinators. That's as good as money, sir. New quarterback.
That's my quarterback.
Same coach.
And you all may be taking the week off this week, but I'm not.
We are your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone, as we mentioned in that last segment when we return here on Monday. The Auburn Tigers are going to kick off spring football practice with Hugh Freeze, so they have that going. And then they also have a trip for basketball-wise to Rupp Arena tomorrow. That is a monster game for Bruce Pearl and company. So there is nothing short to write about, nothing short for the Auburn beat writers to cover in the next, I guess you could say, 72 hours.
Yeah, and Brian Stoltz, who does a great job for covering basketball for the auburnsports.com, which is part of the Rivals Network. He just took a photo that I thought was very interesting, or video, excuse me. Let me correct myself there. That I just saw on his timeline and on the Brian Matthews Twitter account. And we're about to go to Brian Matthews, who's been with us since this show began. But it's very interesting, Scott. You would love this setup, as you have done a lot of basketball games in your time. But the team hotel for Auburn is right across the street from Rupp Arena.
Yeah. So do you bus or do you walk?
Would you just walk?
I mean, do you bus or walk? Yeah. Anyway.
Regardless, it's going to be tough. But Auburn with a big game and opportunity on Saturday in Rupp Arena, a very difficult schedule down the stretch, but a win they desperately had to have in Neville Arena earlier this week against Ole Miss. And we're going to talk about that and more with Brian Matthews, since 2001 covering the Auburn Tigers, and he is with auburnsports.com. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
We're good.
Good.
I mean, it's not overstated to say that was a must-win for Auburn against Ole Miss, right?
No, I think you're spot on, and I think they need another win in these next three, and they're going to be all tough games at Kentucky. Haven't won there since 1988, and John Kaler.
Oh, wow. Wow, John Kaler. That's bringing back some memories. Wow. I didn't realize that.
And then they got, of course, Alabama on the road, which will be a very tough game. And then the big one, I think, for Auburn, if they're not able to pull out an upset on the road, is going to be Tennessee at home. In a week and a half. That's going to be basically a week. That's going to be a really big one for Auburn.
Yeah, all three against ranked. I mean, two of the three against ranked. Kentucky getting votes down there. And Brian, if you were looking at it, I mean, is Tennessee they've got to win one of these next three. I don't think you can lose all three. Is Tennessee the best shot for them to get one of the three?
I think so. They played Tennessee within a point up in Knoxville.
Yeah.
I think it was a couple of weeks ago now. And, they got them coming into Neville Arena. They're going to know what what they need at that time. They're going to know what a big game it is. So, I think that's probably their best shot. But, you never know, right? Crazy things happen in basketball sometimes. So we'll see how things go the next couple of games.
Well, there's no question. I mean, if South Carolina can come into Rupp Arena and win, Auburn could, especially if they have a hot shooting game. There's no doubt. And certainly it's a great rivalry with Alabama. They won in Tuscaloosa last year. So going to be very, very interesting. Of course, Alabama's having to deal with their own situations off the floor in the basketball program. But I had said the same thing, Brian. I felt like when I saw how the Auburn season had unfolded, I've said the whole year I thought they were an NCAA tournament team, but they do lack quality wins. They didn't have a disastrous loss, though. I was a little surprised that Ole Miss pushed them to the brink. I thought that they would win the game, 14, 15 points. I thought they would win it impressively. They did not. I know you guys were there and covered it. What was the thing that was disturbing about Auburn's performance, first of all?
Well, first of all, I think Ole Miss deserves credit for really playing hard.
Oh, I agree with that. That's a good point, yeah.
And I thought they did a great job with their dribble penetration. And I think they took almost maybe all their shots in the lane. I feel I can look at that. But about every shot was when they drove in and tried to lay up or dunk or pull-up jumper. And they also crashed the boards really hard, while at the same time Auburn was trying to send out Wendell and some players on fast breaks, which worked out well for them. You saw Wendell go coast to coast and get some easy buckets for Auburn several times in that game. So offensive rebounding for Ole Miss was really good. Auburn's got to work on that, of course, against a great rebound team in Kentucky and Toshiba. But, they'll adjust, right? They'll have different plans for different teams. And, they ended up beating Ole Miss. And, we'll see if they can pull off the upset this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, they go on the road to Kentucky. Kentucky playing awfully better than what they were before. Yeah, much better, awfully better. Much better. This Auburn team, though, it just seems like when it goes on the road, fouls, putting opponents on the free throw line, everything just seems to go hand in hand.
Yeah, they are who they are, right? They're not a great perimeter defense. They have trouble defending bigger guards, or getting shots off against bigger guards. and they don't necessarily play as well on the road. And a lot of times, the way Wendell Green, goes, Auburn goes, and he tends to play much better at home, of course. And teams are now tending to, make their defense try to stop Wendell, especially on that, screen at the top of the key and such, just to try to slow him down and slow Auburn down. So, we'll see teams adjust throughout the season. I would expect Kentucky's probably going to win. That's what they've done there since '88, right? It's a long time. I know because I'm getting old now. So, but you just never know sometimes.
Well, I mean, that was a great tidbit you gave us. I mean, I have not thought of the name of John Kaler in a long time. I mean, that's a really good shooter, really good player. No doubt about it for Sonny Smith, but just had not thought about John Kaler. And that's just as much success as Bruce Pearl's had the last 5 or 6 years. You forget that they haven't won in Rupp.
Yeah, and you'll remember they got run out of the gym at Kentucky. I guess it was 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think that was their last loss before they won 10, 11 straight. The Final Four. If I'm not mistaken. So it's not the end of the world if they do get thumped up there. So we'll see.
Well, so the basketball obviously winding down regular season-wise, but, Brian, we wake up Monday morning, we don't even turn the calendar to March yet, and Hugh Freeze is going to be starting spring football. That's crazy, isn't it? Yep, they start on Monday the 27th. It'll go until April 8th for the A-Day game. We don't have the spring schedule yet, practice schedule, but expecting Auburn to be very physical. Hugh Freeze told us that. And there's going to be a ton of competition. I cannot remember going into a spring where I could not 100% name one starter on offense.
Wow.
I think Jarquez Hunter's probably going to be the starting running back, but they did bring in Batty, another
that's true.
Really good running back for a transfer. And so, I think there's going to be great competition across the board on offense. And in defense, it's similar. I think Marcus Harris up front on the defensive line is going to be a starter. He's been for the last couple of years, and Auburn's got some really good secondary pieces coming back, but the rest of the defensive line and the entire linebacker group is all up for grabs too, so it's going to be a very competitive spring.
It really is. It's going to be a very competitive one, no doubt about it. And is this the earliest you can ever remember it starting?
Well, my memory's not very good.
I mean, it is for me. I mean, I'm not used to this. I'm not used. The analogy I made, Brian, was we haven't even had an SEC baseball series yet. Like I'm talking about conference.
Pretty wild.
And they're starting already.
It is, and I think one thing the NCAA needs to do is really look at the calendar for college football,
right,
and make some adjustments on that, especially recruiting, because they've got a lot of months set aside for recruiting, and it's really intense and puts a lot of pressure on coaches, head coaches, and assistant coaches these days, time management-wise. So I think that's still something that needs to be adjusted. But I think that's one of the reasons that, that is one of the biggest reasons schools want to have their spring practice out of the way early so they can get into recruiting in March and April, which is really key. That leads into the June official visit period, which leads into late June and July when all these top players in the 24 class are going to be making decisions. So it all sort of rolls together there.
It does, and we'd be remiss. Your early thoughts, I know it's very, very early, but certainly a strong start. And they just recently, of course, came for the second time to the Rocket City in Toyota Field, playing the home of the Trash Pandas. But a very impressive Auburn performance, 13-1, I believe 7 innings over UNA. So your thoughts on Auburn baseball? I know Ike Irish and the crew are really swinging the bats well.
Yeah, they are. Ike Irish, a freshman, has come in and batted terrifically, and Bryson Ware, a guy who has struggled for a couple of years at Auburn, is really off to a great start, moved from the outfield to third base. I think if you look at the Auburn baseball team right now, they've got a really good lineup, a lot of pop in the 1 through 9 in that group, and I think behind Joseph Gonzalez, who's the Saturday starter this weekend, they're still sort of building that pitching staff. I think it's going to be a process. They got a bunch of transfers, junior college players, freshmen that are all sort of finding their place in the staff. So I think you're going to see that develop in the coming weeks heading into SEC play. Probably have a different starter on Sunday than Auburn did last week. but it'll probably be Zach Crutchfield, another freshman. So we'll see how that goes for them. And they got USC coming into town. Series was originally scheduled to be in L.A., but due to the weather, back on Tuesday, Wednesday, they decided to switch it, and were able to change all the travel plans. USC came, I guess, got here Thursday night, I believe, or maybe it was Wednesday night, and they were able to practice in Plains Park last night for the first time.
Yeah, that's impressive. But, just like when we talk about the NCAA wanting to change some stuff with college football, timing and dates, baseball also should be in that conversation because the pitching staff, there's been a lot of injuries already across Division I baseball when it comes to pitching, and it's almost like people are talking about they need to give pitchers more time to get acclimated to throwing baseball on the college level.
Yeah, you just get a short period when you get back to school, usually after the first couple of weeks of January, build those guys up, to starting. So it can be an issue, but, I think some coaches, I think Bush does a great job of being careful. He's very careful with Joseph Gonzalez. He barely threw during preseason practice. But I've seen at least one LSU starter the first week throw almost 98 pitches or almost 100 pitches.
Wow.
So a lot of that's on the coaches, too, and they need to be a little bit smarter in the way they use their players.
Okay, now the biggest question is, Brian, and I know you'll be there covering this. You guys will be covering baseball as well as I know you guys are already got Stoltz over there covering the game in Lexington. But are we going to see Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf at Plainsman's Park, bro?
Yeah, how about that, man?
That's pretty cool. How old am I? Good grief.
Wow.
Exactly.
He's the Saturday starter, Scott.
Okay.
Jaden Agassi.
Okay.
Yep. Jaden Agassi. I just wonder how many players on Auburn's team know who Andre Agassi is.
They probably don't. That is so sad.
I'm going to say 20%, maybe less.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to hopefully spotting them in the crowd. They were incredible. Both were incredible. I guess Steffi won a lot more than Andre did.
They were both Hall of Famers, though. I mean, this is like, I can't believe this guy's not playing tennis. He should have the genes to just dominate.
No kidding.
Oh.
No kidding, but yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, man.
It should be fun. Yep. And he is Saturday starter. So
he is. 1.42 ERA, 1-0.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Wow. Yep. Already got a kid in college, bro. That is nuts. That'd be a fun game to go. Well, Brian, we appreciate you coming on and giving us the latest in Auburn basketball, football, and, of course, a little baseball there. But I'll let everybody know how to follow all y'all's coverage.
I appreciate it. You can check us out at auburnsports.com. We have plenty of coverage of all the events going on this weekend. And then you can follow me on Twitter at BMattAU.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Brian.
We need to get Eddie Jakes over there, man. He'd be in heaven. There you go.
He would be. He would be. He would be. Man, I tell you what. You want a good read?
Yeah.
Read. It's like the Andre Agassi bio or his autobiography. One of his autobiographies.
I was always more of his Agassi guy than Sampras.
It's very interesting because he and his father. His father really pushed him.
Oh, his father was a nut.
Thing.
You talking about the Agassi's father? Yeah, he was crazy. He was one of these. He was one of these. Whatever they helicopter dads.
Yes, when you talk about parents that cross the line sometimes with their kids in sports, Andre Agassi's dad was that. It's a very interesting read, his autobiography, and it's pretty. It's very interesting.
I just can't. Wow.
I know. Steffi Graf, Andre Agassi. I mean. Wow.
I was just reading through Brian's notes, because they're playing Southern Cal, and they're talking about, the series coming up, and these are the probable starters, and I start reading through the pitching matchups, and I'm like, what?
Agassi. That's not a name that you see too often, so, obviously it's going to ring some bells.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Let's get a bell. Let's get a break. Let's ring the bell for the final segment when we come back. There we go. I corrected it.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like we're going to wrap it up in pretty good shape this morning. I don't see anything new accident-wise. traffic beginning to thin out, but we still got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode this morning, so you be careful as you make the rest of your trip in. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back, Talking Ball. Your tomorrow's headlines today, we're just basically, don't forget SEC basketball coming up tomorrow. Alabama, Arkansas, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You'll be able to hear that game tomorrow. That'll be a 1 o'clock tip. UAH basketball against Valdosta State is 4 o'clock tip, and then the women are at 2. So those are your tomorrow's headlines today real fast. Johnny on his cell is where we go next. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, guys. So I just want to kind of parallel a little bit with what's going on with tomorrow's tip-off and everything. I would say there has been some journalists that have had more balanced coverage of the situation since some actually did some research to discover why he's not charged and why he won't be charged and things like that. But just for a second, if we could imagine that Brandon Miller was not a rising superstar, he was just another normal African-American kid on a campus who happened to, bring a gun to a friend who was being threatened, where would the outrage be right now? There should be outrage. We see more gun violence at black-on-black, African-American on African-American violence in our country than anywhere before. Every day someone loses a daughter, a mom, a son to gun violence, and there's no outrage about this. But so we can't pretend Brandon Miller's not an all-American rising superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But, the thing about this kid is he doesn't own a gun. He's never fired a gun. He comes from a great family. Most people who know him say he's a better person than he is a ball player.
And yet this was the kid they decided to vilify in this whole situation. And that's the thing that really just got me pretty good, is that I saw someone who is a really just fantastic human being being vilified by a press whose sole purpose for vilifying him was their own self-gain.
Oh, yeah. There's no question about that.
In the social media world we live in, clickbait media is how you charge your people, it's how you charge for advertising. The more people that see your views, the more money you make. And so when you can make outrageous, outlandish statements against a really nice young man, and you can vilify him, and you can say, why is he not locked up? When you can do these things, you get more eyeballs on your site. You get to charge more for your clicks and your posts and all those things. So all these people who have been doing this are hypocrites.
Yeah.
Because if they really cared about the situation that mattered here, they would be caring about this every time it happens. Every hour, every day, another person is gunned down on the streets of America, and no one cares.
Oh, I
until
agree.
It's a way for you to make money.
Mm-hmm. And, well, I mean...
That's my soliloquy today, and I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity.
Thanks,
and
John.
hopefully somebody will get this, and they will say, okay, let's make real change. Let's make lives matter. Let's teach our youth that you shouldn't be killing people. Let's teach our youth to value the life, the human sanctity.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you guys.
Well
thanks. said. And that's perfectly said. But it's all about, in today's sensationalistic, journalistic world, it's about taking one word and twisting it to your own narrative.
Yeah,
that's
it really is.
That's where it is. All right, Jimmy is with us this morning. Good morning, Jimmy.
Morning, Jimmy. We got you, Jimmy. Ooh. You there? Hey, what's up?
Quick, Jimmy.
Yeah, what's up, bud?
Here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, real quick. Westminster, I mean, you got to play a tough schedule to win games like yesterday. Deshler.
Yeah, I don't.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Westminster played a tough schedule. That's what helped them win yesterday. If you want to go to Birmingham and win these kind of games, you've got to play a tough schedule. And that's what it comes down to. They made the plays in the end, and Deshler just didn't have enough. So good luck to all the teams next week. I'll see you guys in Birmingham.
Sorry about that phone call there. Basically, Westminster Christian Academy dug deep yesterday, got a win over Deshler.
They trailed by as many as 9. They were down. It was 7 with about a little over 3 minutes to go, and did a great job pressuring defense. Caden Ricker got 2 big steals and dunks. Chase McCarty made some big-time shots down the stretch, and then Jackson Hammond had a big shot block that I know Brian Pounders wanted a goaltend on it, but it was close. It was a great play. And then, Westminster turned it into a transition opportunity where they were able to get to the free throw line, and they were able to outlast them 55-51. It was a really tough, high-level game, and I give Deshler a lot of credit for how they played, but Westminster's number 1, and now I think they're on a collision course with the defending 4A state champion Jacksonville Golden Eagles to play in the finals.
All right, so there you go. That's going to do it. That's going to do it for our 2-hour edition of
Bubby's is sold out.
Yeah, of course it is.